Most people live lives of quiet desperation, not because they lack talent, but because they accept mediocrity. They settle, they conform. And, the tragedy isn't that they aim too high and miss, it's that they aim too low and hit. The first step to escaping mediocrity is recognizing it. Mediocrity hides behind comfort. It disguises itself as good enough. But deep down, you were not made for average. You were designed for excellence, for purpose, for greatness. One of the most deceptive traps in life is the lure of comfort. It's easy. It's predictable. It asks nothing of us but to stay where we are, do what we've always done, and settle into the familiar routines that feel safe. And at first, it doesn't seem harmful. After all, what's wrong with taking it easy? But comfort, when left unchecked, quietly becomes the enemy of progress. It creates an illusion of stability, when in truth, it slowly dulls ambition and numbs the hunger for achievement. The more we choose comfort over challenge, the more we begin to shrink mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. Growth never happens in comfort. Growth happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in the arena where risk and reward collide. People who live in comfort zones often tell themselves they're being practical or realistic. They fear failure, criticism, or looking foolish, so they stay within the boundaries of what they already know. But here's the reality. The most successful, fulfilled individuals in any field didn't get there by playing it safe. They stepped out into the unknown, accepted discomfort as the price of growth, and leaned into the process of learning, adapting, and evolving. Every great leader, innovator, or world changer has walked through fire, mentally or otherwise, and come out stronger because they dared to do what others avoided. They recognize that the pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of regret is permanent, and when you're constantly choosing comfort, you're quietly choosing to remain the same while the world moves forward. To truly escape mediocrity, you must declare war on comfort. You must begin doing the hard things daily, whether that's waking up earlier, tackling tasks you've avoided, having the difficult conversations, or setting higher expectations for yourself. Growth isn't glamorous. It's uncomfortable, demanding, and often lonely, but it's also deeply rewarding. The moment you push beyond what feels easy is the moment you begin expanding your potential. You're not challenged, you're not changing, and if you're not changing, you're not growing. Don't let comfort rob you of the life you could have lived. Stretch yourself, risk discomfort, because every breakthrough you seek lies just beyond the edge of your comfort zone. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not that people fail, but that they never truly aim at anything worthwhile to begin with. A lack of clear goals is like sailing a ship without a destination. No matter how strong the wind, no direction leads to nowhere. When you don't set specific, measurable, time-bound goals, you drift through life reacting instead of creating. You become busy but not productive, active but not accomplished. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly years pass with little to show for it. Without goals, there's no focus, no urgency, no reason to push through fear or fatigue. Your energy becomes scattered, your confidence fades, and mediocrity becomes your default setting. You might work hard, but without a clear end in sight, your effort lacks power. Effort without direction is wasted motion, and wasted motion is the fastest way to a life of regret. Clear goals act like a GPS for your mind. They turn vague wishes into tangible targets and transform your mindset from passive observer to active creator. When you write your goals down, define them with precision, and commit to them daily, your brain begins working like a heat-seeking missile, locking onto the target, filtering distractions, and finding pathways where none existed before. Setting goals also builds momentum because with every step forward, you feel a sense of progress, and progress is the ultimate motivator. It's not about achieving everything overnight, but about knowing where you're going and why it matters. If you're unclear about your goals, you'll be unclear about your actions. You'll say yes to the wrong things, spend time on low-value activities, and allow the world to decide your path for you. But when your goals are crystal clear, your life begins to change. Your choices sharpen, your priorities shift, and suddenly, instead of drifting, you are driving, on purpose, with purpose, toward a future of your own design. Fear of failure is one of the most powerful forces keeping people trapped in mediocrity. It paralyzes action, clouds judgment, and convinces us to stay small, even when we know we're capable of more. For many, the idea of failing isn't just uncomfortable, it's deeply threatening to their identity. They begin to equate mistakes with personal inadequacy, so instead of trying and falling short, they avoid trying altogether. They play it safe, take minimal risks, and live inside tightly controlled environments where the possibility of failure is minimized. But here's the brutal truth. Avoiding failure is the surest way to avoid success. Every significant breakthrough, every bold achievement is built on a mountain of failed attempts. The path to mastery is paved with missteps, wrong turns, and temporary defeats. Without failure, there is no learning, no innovation, and no real growth. The people who accomplish the most are never the ones who never fail. They are the ones who fail fast, fail forward, and refuse to quit. Ironically, the more you fear failure, the more power you give it. It becomes the filter through which you make decisions, the ceiling that limits your potential. But failure is not the enemy, it is the teacher. It shows you what doesn't work, exposes your weaknesses, and points the way to improvement. In fact, failure is often a sign that you're moving in the right direction because it means you're stretching beyond your current limits. You cannot discover new oceans if you're too afraid to lose sight of the shore. So if you truly want to rise above mediocrity, you must shift your relationship with failure. Embrace it, learn from it. Understand that every setback carries within it the seeds of a comeback if you choose to grow. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is feedback. And the faster you move through fear, the faster you move toward the life you were meant to live. The people you associate with determine the direction, speed, and altitude of your life. One of the most dangerous forms of mediocrity is not internal, it's external. It's who you allow into your mental environment. If you spend your time with people who lack ambition, make excuses, settle for less, and discourage progress, you will eventually become like them, whether you realize it or not. Human beings are highly impressionable. We absorb the values, attitudes, and habits of those closest to us. You cannot expect to live an extraordinary life while surrounding yourself with people who think ordinary is good enough. Average thinkers normalize average outcomes. They're quick to dismiss dreams as unrealistic. They mock discipline, minimize effort, and resent those who push beyond the status quo. Because your growth threatens their comfort. Stay in their world long enough and you'll start shrinking your dreams just to fit in. Average thinkers don't just hold you back with words, they do it with energy. They avoid responsibility and blame external forces for their stagnation. They see challenges as problems, not opportunities. When you share a bold idea or a big goal, they respond with fear, sarcasm, or skepticism. They aren't trying to harm you, but they will. Not out of malice, but out of limitation. They speak from their own insecurities, their own unchallenged assumptions about what's possible. If you're not careful, you'll adopt their language, mirror their attitudes, and inherit their limitations. The power of association is so strong that just being in the wrong environment can destroy your potential. You might think you're immune, that you're motivated enough to rise anyway, but mediocrity is contagious. It spreads through subtle conversations, passive-aggressive jokes, and a lack of challenge. Before long, you begin to settle, not because you want to, but because you've forgotten what striving looks like. To rise above average, you must consciously, intentionally, and sometimes ruthlessly upgrade your circle. Seek out those who think bigger, act bolder, and live with purpose. Spend time with people who make you uncomfortable, not because they belittle you, but because they inspire you to stretch. The right environment can lift you higher than you ever thought possible. Success leaves clues, and those who are achieving more than you can show you how, if you're willing to listen and humble enough to learn. Choose to be around excellence. Choose to be mentored, challenged, and supported by people who refuse to settle. Let go of relationships that keep you small. And don't apologize for wanting more. Your time is too precious and your potential is too great to be wasted in average company. Remember, if you're the smartest, most ambitious person in the room, procrastination is not just a bad habit. It's a silent dream killer. It disguises itself as waiting for the right time, for more clarity, for motivation to strike. But the truth is, procrastination is often fear in disguise. It's the fear of discomfort, the fear of failure, the fear of starting something you're not sure you can finish. And instead of facing that fear head on, we delay. We fill our days with distractions, checklists, and minor tasks that make us feel busy but do nothing to move us forward. The cost is enormous. Every day you procrastinate is a day you delay your growth, your goals, and your future. Time doesn't stop while you hesitate. The world keeps spinning, and those who take action, even imperfectly, pull ahead while you stand still. Procrastination robs you not only of time but of confidence, because every delay chips away at your belief in yourself. Excuses are procrastination's loyal partner. They provide the justification for inaction, the story we tell ourselves to feel better about doing less than we're capable of. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I don't know where to start. It's not the right moment, but behind every excuse is the same reality, a choice not to act. Making excuses is easy because it takes the responsibility off your shoulders and places it somewhere else, on circumstances, on timing, on other people. But the most successful people refuse to make excuses. They act despite not having all the answers. They start small, stay consistent, and figure things out along the way. They understand that waiting for perfect conditions is a form of self-sabotage. Progress is always messy, uncertain, and inconvenient, but it's the only way to build momentum. Excuses might protect your ego in the short term, but they destroy your future in the long run. To rise above mediocrity, you must kill procrastination and silence your excuses with action. Start by doing one uncomfortable thing each day. Choose discipline over delay, commitment over convenience. Remind yourself that results come from execution, not intention. When you feel the urge to wait, to stall, to push something off for later, catch it and move anyway. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with consistent, focused action taken in the face of resistance. The only difference between people who succeed and those who stay stuck is that successful people do the things others avoid. Not once, not occasionally, but every day. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for clarity. Decide to act now, and you'll build both along the way. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a strike against mediocrity. Choose movement. Choose momentum. Choose your future. Mediocrity thrives in the soil of low standards. When you accept less than your best, when you tolerate average behavior, effort, and results from yourself or from others, you send a powerful message to your mind. This is good enough. And over time, good enough becomes your ceiling. It becomes your identity. Low standards aren't always obvious. They often start small. Sleeping in instead of waking early, skipping a workout, letting a project slide, tolerating poor habits, or allowing negative self-talk to run unchecked. But compounded over time, they create a life that's uninspired, underperforming, and misaligned with your true potential. Standards are like the thermostat of your life. They determine the level at which you operate. If you don't consciously raise them, they'll default to the level of the environment around you. And if that environment is full of low expectation thinking, you'll begin to believe that excellence is the exception, not the rule. The danger of low expectations is that they quietly dictate your goals, your choices, and your level of persistence. If you don't expect much from yourself, you won't pursue much. You won't push hard, aim high, or stretch beyond your current limits, because in your mind, more doesn't seem possible or necessary. This mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You get what you settle for. If you expect mediocrity, you'll attract it. If you expect little, you'll achieve little. But when you raise your expectations, you raise your identity. You begin to behave differently, think differently, and demand more from every area of your life. High expectations force you to elevate your habits, align your focus, and eliminate distractions. They create internal pressure, the kind that sharpens you, not breaks you. And that pressure is the birthplace of excellence. If you want to escape mediocrity, you must draw a line in the sand and say, from this moment forward, I no longer accept anything less than my best. Raise your standards in how you speak, how you act, how you treat others, how you manage time, how you take care of your body, and how you pursue your goals. This doesn't mean becoming a perfectionist. It means becoming committed to consistent excellence. It means holding yourself accountable even when no one is watching. High standards attract high-level results. They repel laziness, complacency, and entitlement, and they send a clear message to the world and to yourself that you are not here to blend in, you are here to stand out, to do meaningful work, to live with purpose. When your standards rise, so does your life. Don't wish for a better outcome, demand it from yourself. Avoiding responsibility is one of the most direct pathways to a life of mediocrity. It's the mindset that says, it's not my fault, that's just the way things are, or there's nothing I can do about it. It's the habit of shifting blame to circumstances, other people, or bad luck, rather than facing the hard truth. You are responsible for your life. The moment you surrender responsibility, you surrender power. You give away control of your outcomes, your direction, and your future. And while blaming others might feel comforting in the short term, it creates a life built on excuses instead of results. People who avoid responsibility stay stuck because they never take ownership of the behaviors, decisions, and habits that created their current situation. If you refuse to own it, you'll never fix it. Responsibility is not a burden, it's the foundation of all personal power. Only when you say, I am the reason I'm here, and I'm the reason I'll move forward, does real change begin. True responsibility means taking control even when things go wrong, even when it's hard, even when it would be easier to point fingers. It's about understanding that while you may not control everything that happens to you, you absolutely control how you respond, and that response shapes everything. People who rise to greatness don't wait for ideal circumstances, they create them. They accept full responsibility for their actions, their progress, their mindset, and their growth. They don't wait to be rescued or reassured, they lead themselves. They learn from failure instead of hiding from it. They take initiative instead of waiting for permission. And over time, this level of ownership builds trust, builds confidence, and builds momentum. If you want to escape mediocrity, you must stop playing the victim and start playing the architect of your life. Because the life you want is not found in avoiding responsibility, it's built by embracing it.